And it's really easy just to look at it and be like, you're just like helping people post Instagram photos, but it is so much more. Hi guys, my name is Michelle Reed. If you guys are new to my channel, you should definitely hit that subscribe button because I post lots of videos. I post work week in my lives. I post videos like these. I post all the time. I am 21 years old. I just graduated from college in May, and I'm doing a lot of just kind of like adulting stuff about working, jobs, lifestyle stuff, wellness stuff, just a ton of different things, so you guys should definitely stick around. Today's video is one that I've wanted to film for a very long time. That is a Q&A on working in social media marketing. I get so many questions from people asking me about my job, about how to get into this industry, what it's actually like, skills to have. So many DMs from you guys specifically on these things, and so I wanted to do a whole video just answering your questions if you guys are interested in working in social media marketing. Just for some background, I work at a social media marketing agency. It's technically a creative shop, so we do more than just marketing, but it's specifically all around influencer marketing. It's on the agency side of things, so I don't specifically work under necessarily one brand, but it's however many accounts that I'm on at the time. So we have a lot of different brands that we work with, and then we help them with influencer marketing. I'm obviously just an entry-level role because I did just start. I am 21, I just graduated in May, and so I don't know everything. This is just my experience from being at the job for about 5 to 6 months now. I asked for questions on my Instagram per usual, so you guys should definitely go follow me on there. I post all the time, and I'm really active on Instagram, so you guys should definitely check it out. What does a typical day on the job look like? So I do work at an agency, and it is more of a startup. We are about like 40 to 50 employees now, and so it's not technically really a startup, but that does mean that my day-to-day tasks are very different. I have like a set to-do list every day that I know are things that I necessarily like have to get done. However, I don't come in and like every day looks the same, which can be really good for some people and really bad for some people. It depends on who you are. Personally, for me, I like things switching up. It's good for me. I feel like I learn more. Working at a smaller company, you also get to do different tasks. It's not like a big corporate job where you have set tasks that you have to get done. It's kind of like where you're needed, that's what you work on, and it's a lot of fun if you guys are starting out. I think it's great to work at a smaller company for that reason. Obviously, everything has its drawbacks, but I really like it. The marketing industry, I feel like people don't work earlier in the morning. I typically get in around 9, but lately it's been more like 8:30, 8:45, and then I leave work around like 6:30, but a lot of times I do work at night as well, just because in influencer marketing, you're working with people who don't work normal 9 to 5s. These are influencers who, you know, respond to emails really late or really early, and so it is kind of the kind of job where you're working around the clock, and because it is client work, you are working for the client, which means working outside of set like normal hours. So I think that's a really important thing to note, that you need to make sure your lifestyle kind of aligns with that. What are some skills that employers look for specifically for social media marketing? I think the biggest thing that I didn't necessarily know going into, but was something that I wanted to learn a lot about, was data. And I think that's something that I actually got a question, something that was like, what do you do, just like post pictures on Instagram all day? And I think that's kind of the assumption, but it is a lot of data science. It's a lot of taking posts and analyzing them and seeing trends, and at the end of the day, it is like a sales job. You are working like a sales job. Like, you are trying to create campaigns and work on campaigns that sell products. Like, that is what marketing is. And so you are analyzing data, you are seeing what works, what doesn't, and applying that in a creative way. And I think it's really interesting seeing that side of things, and I think that's the part that I like the most about it, is analyzing the data in Excel. And that's something that I'm learning a lot, and I think as you get higher, you kind of do more and more, and you kind of analyze those trends and create campaigns around them. And the entry-level position, you're kind of the one who's inputting the data. You know, what works, what doesn't. It's just really interesting. So I think being able to look at set data and analyze it, it's also the kind of job where you have to be very particular about every little thing, and every little thing has to add up, and you have to be very type A, very meticulous, which is personally my personality type. I've always been like that, a little bit too much because I drive myself crazy, but because you can't analyze data if everything isn't inputted and formatted correctly. Obviously, the creative skills are really important too. If you want to bring together a campaign, especially for influencer marketing, you have to kind of have that creative eye. I think that's something that I'm actually a little bit weaker in, and I think sometimes you look at influencers and you think that they'd be really good at that because they do create content, but I'm definitely more of a numbers person versus like a creative person. And then at the end of the day, just being a people person, especially if you're working on the client side, working with clients who might have, you know, things happen where you have to really work quickly and you have to work in an organized manner and be really excited about it. And being good with people and having good communication skills is always important, but I think that's for any job. Advice to get a job in the industry. I got a lot of questions from people asking like if you have to have a certain degree or if you have to study something in college, have a certain minor. I personally do not think if you want to work in social media marketing, you have to have a certain major. I think it would be helpful to have internships. I honestly don't even think my college helped me get this job. I think the reason why I understood the industry and I knew it was because I was in it as an influencer, and now I'm learning the backside of things and it's so interesting. I definitely don't think you need to like be a marketing major in college. You can learn anything at the job. Just being able to show that you have a creative eye, that you can analyze data, that you are very particular and you have good communication skills, I think that you can make it happen. Meet people, networking is such a better option compared to just going on LinkedIn and applying for things. I got my job by literally emailing the contact email on the website. Granted, it is a small company. I think just doing things that are a little bit outside of the box and not necessarily just going the easy route, applying to 100 different jobs on LinkedIn, it's like everyone's gonna do that and you have to find a way to kind of set yourself apart. Do you ever think social media is too superficial of a career? How do you manage that? I have this internal struggle a lot, and I think the conclusion that I've come to is that a lot of times we think that our work has to be fulfilling and it has to be something that is doing like this greater good. And while I think any job has elements like that, I don't think your job necessarily has to be your total fulfillment. It's like you can find that through your family, through volunteering, through just being a good person and impacting other people's lives. Just because you're not necessarily working for a nonprofit or, you know, a charity, like that doesn't mean that your job isn't fulfilling and you aren't touching people's lives by like being a nice person to work with and working hard. And especially while working like an entry-level job, you're not necessarily going to have the freedom to do something that's super fulfilling. It's like you do just need a job at the end of the day, and you can work your way up to do something that might be a little bit more fulfilling. But I think there's beauty in just doing the simple, ordinary things and being really good at those ordinary things and touching people that way. Yeah, social media marketing may seem really superficial, and some days it definitely feels like that, but other days it doesn't. I actually read an article recently on this that I think is really helpful for kind of processing these things. I'll have it linked down below if you want to check it out. Could I get a job in the industry with a completely different degree? How? I definitely think you could. I know people who are hired in marketing positions who were like political majors or something. It's like you can make anything happen. It's all about how you formulate the answers to your interview questions. Show that you can sell something. Show that you know people's buying habits. Show that you have a creative eye in some way. Like just show your skills through things that you've done throughout your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I took this class in college on this subject. Is there any specific software you need to know how to use in your job? I honestly wouldn't worry about this. I think knowing Excel, Microsoft Word, Google Sheets, like simple things like that, I feel like it's like obvious that you should know those things. But I don't think there are specific programs that, you know, you have to know. It might be good to be like certified in AdWords or something, but I don't think that there are these set programs that you should know how to do, because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that you can learn. I think it's the soft skills that are more innate, like your people skills, your communication skills, how self-motivated you are. Like those are the things that you can't necessarily teach yourself that you should already know how to be good at. Do you interact a lot with your coworkers on projects or more individual? My work is very collaborative. I work on teams because we are doing client work and I'm on different accounts. There's like different teams for each account. So it is a lot of teamwork, but it also is a lot of individual work too within your specific role, that you do have specific duties that you have to do. But it's definitely a good mix of both, which is good for me. I'm always used to working by myself, so it's been good to learn how to work with a team, you know, how to take responsibility and develop those communication skills. And so, do you think jobs like this will be around long term? If not, how do you plan for that? I get this question, and I think people ask these kind of questions all the time, and it's like, all jobs are not necessarily going to be here for the long term. You're just sitting and like planning on how you're going to like pivot, especially about social media. And just like personally, from my own opinion, I don't think it's going anywhere. Things migrate into new platforms. For example, like TikTok is becoming like one of the fastest growing apps, and it's like important to learn how to go onto those platforms and market there. But that's all about just being like an adaptable person and just knowing that you do have skills that can go from thing to thing. But yeah, I'm not like worried about it. I don't think it's going anywhere. And if it does, it's like you have skills that you can just put towards something else. It's not necessarily like, it's not like I only know how to do social media marketing and that's it. I mean, it's like I said before, you have communication skills, you know how to analyze data. It's like these things can be used for other jobs. I'm not necessarily like worried about being jobless. Do you do more writing or strategy or data work? I say it's a lot of all those. I don't really do a lot of writing besides like doing a lot of emails and then doing like reports. But even that, it's not anything like writing an essay in college. I don't do a lot of like writing copy unless it's like helping people format their Instagram captions or like seeing what talking points work better. I don't really work on a lot of the strategy stuff. I help put together the data to formulate it, but that's definitely something that someone who is a higher level will do strategy more than I do. Do you think it would be easy for someone to switch into the marketing space from sales? I definitely think so, because marketing very much is sales, and just especially for influencer marketing, just getting people to be on board to be a part of campaigns. It is kind of like selling a brand. It is like selling this to the influencer, why this is a good campaign. And at the end of the day, marketing is sales. Like, you are trying to drive purchases from a customer, and that is so important. And I feel like having those persuasion skills from sales, having those people skills is really important. I feel like that would be such an easy transition. Do you think you would have ended up in this industry even if you weren't on YouTube first? I definitely think I wouldn't have. I would not be interested in this industry at all. The only real reason why I applied to this job was because I did know about social media and I knew about the space, and it's so interesting working on the behind the scenes of it and kind of seeing why brands make the choices that they make, and you know, what makes a campaign successful. And it's really easy just to look at it and be like, you're just like helping people post Instagram photos, which at the end of the day, it's like that is a big part of it. But it is so much more, like seeing the overarching goal of like someone's whole year plan of like what they put on social media. It's just so interesting to see it come about and what makes it successful, what makes it not successful. I feel like I know a lot about the space because I've already been on it, and I wouldn't have picked it if I didn't kind of already have that interest. How do you stay focused on your individual work in an open floor plan environment? So at my work, I think you guys see this in my week in my life videos occasionally, but it is like an open floor plan. It's like there's just like long desks. It's not like you have your own desk that you sit at. It really isn't hard. I've always been someone who's pretty self-motivated. I just kind of work on my own stuff, and I don't necessarily need someone to like stay on me to tell me to do things. I feel like I am that person for myself a little bit too much sometimes. I think that's actually a really good skill to have, is being self-motivated, because when you manage yourself, it means someone else doesn't have to manage you as much, which puts work off of them, which makes them really happy to be a part of your team. So yeah, it's honestly really fun. I feel like I've gotten better at multitasking and talking and doing work while also getting my stuff done. I really like it. I think it's great. Have you ever felt burnout, tired of social media since you're on it for work, YouTube, and private use? A million times. And I feel like this has been the hardest part about doing both. And you know, they say like, if you really like something, make it your job and then you're gonna hate it, which I don't think is necessarily completely true. But it is hard. It's a lot of like being on Instagram and being on YouTube and looking at, you know, analytics for a brand, but then also looking at it for myself, and it can be really overwhelming. And I've gotten to a point where I feel like I do need to find time to just do like a whole day of no social media. I'm thinking about doing this on Saturdays. It's something that I really want to try to do because it is really important, and at the end of the day, it is social media, and it's like there are a lot of negative things that can come from it if you're on it all the time, and it's really easy to get caught up on it. But yet again, I see my own social media use for, you know, YouTube and Instagram as a way for me to connect with my followers, which is such a meaningful thing for me that I don't really do it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just scrolling through Instagram. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm connecting with these people and I'm meeting them, and Like that makes me really happy, and so it's something I'm excited to do at the end of the day. But yeah, whenever you work all day on social media and then you come home and you do it more, it can be hard. Like that would be hard for anyone. Those are all the questions I'm going to answer. Feel free to ask any more questions that I may have not addressed down below. Let me know your thoughts, what industry you want to go into, if you're interested in working in marketing and why. I'd love to just make this an open dialogue per usual. I love you guys so much, and I'm so thankful that you watched this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you want to stick around. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.